Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's April 10th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it is Thursday, so no chart lessons on Fridays. This is going to wrap up our week for our YouTube chart lessons. We'll be back again Monday. So you can see another selling day today, although we did recover a good bit of it, maybe a little, almost half of it, not quite half of it. So this still looks better than, if we'd have closed down here or even went lower again. It's still a much higher low than what we had the previous couple of lows. So um, this was a really huge day, so probably a little overdone for one day. um, we'll see where we go from here, but we could sell off some more. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't just chop sideways for a while. um, we could go in any direction, honestly. Uh, it started off a little less volatile than the previous days, but I think by the end of the day, it was still a pretty volatile day in the end. So um, it doesn't like we're quite out of the woods yet. We'll see we'll see what tomorrow brings, and then we'll go from there and see what next week brings. But there it is. You can see the daily chart. I still say that we've got this channel down. We got to close outside at least a couple of swings to a new low, and I think we made much more than a measured move down. Um, so actually, this should be measured from here. I must have moved it, bumped it or something. I don't know what happened, but anyway, that should be where it's at. And you can see we did bounce off that today and go higher. It's kind of been acting as support and resistance. So we'll see what that brings tomorrow. But there it is on the daily chart. Mostly a bearish. It's a down day for sure. Was pretty bearish at one time, and we took back a little of it for the close. So let's flip over to a 2,000 tick chart. I'm not going to. We've had several 30-minute chart lessons, so I'm going to try to move through the one today. I'm not going to rush through it, but I'm not going to probably go into as much detail. But let's flip over there and take a look at it, and we'll go through the trades, and we'll wrap this day up, and we'll wrap this week up. Okay, here it is. You can see the early move down, and there's two legs here. Actually, it should be more like this. And you can see we got really close to two measures. Actually, I don't think I'm quite at the highs here. I think it's there's a good bit of stem there. So we got pretty close to a measured move, two legs down there. You can see that. And then we corrected here, sold off a little bit more, and then corrected again into the close. So still quite a few trades here. But let's zoom in, and you had to be patient this morning. We had this 7:30 news with CPI and unemployment, so you had to kind of be flat going into that. And I didn't see anything just prior to that really that I'd want to trade. And then coming out of that news, not much else either. This is a possibility here. And notice we're working up. You get to close outside. It's just a first entry though. And a lot of times you get two legs up, but it is a little away from the EMA. It does look like it matches this trend line. Did we get a close outside there? Maybe, maybe not. I think I've got my chart off slightly here. I would probably say no, we didn't close outside there. So maybe you take that trade. It's a possibility. Waiting on a lower high would be a better thing, but you just don't get when we start chopping sideways here, and I don't really see anything else. There's a possible long here, but we're trending down, and we've got to close outside, and we're so close to a low, we don't have it yet. I'd be afraid to go long there. You could argue there's a triple test. This line's probably slightly higher than that, like so. You can argue there's a triple test there, but and it would have worked. I'm just not crazy about it. Maybe you can say, okay, we'll give it a green. And then we broke lower finally, and of course it failed. We went right back in the range, but we turned down right off the highs this time, and we came back and tested it yet again. You can see that. But we turned back down. I don't think you want to go long there. You might have, if you did go long, you're just trying to pick a bottom there. There's no reason to say, okay, sure, this short termer's played out, but we could still be going much lower here. So I don't think you want to buy anything in here. It runs back up, turns down again, and then finally we start running up. We get a bounce there, close outside possibly, and then we end up getting a couple of legs up to a new high, and you might go short on that. It's a big bearish bar. Technically, I don't think that's still going over here. I think we've already dropped lower and cleaned all that out and broke out up to the high side and cleaned all that out too. So, but maybe you do have the break and move to a new high. So maybe you go short there. I mean, the bar is only 71 ticks, so I think you skip that. I was just trying to market green, but I'm just trying to. I just think I'm trying to fool myself there. I'm not going to take that trade. I don't think it should be even green. You do get a lower high here, and notice there's a new low right there. So first entry, second entry, you can take that trade, and that turns out. Unfortunately, you don't get a big runner because it comes back, but you would have got. You might have caught a small runner there anyway. And we're just working down. Then you get a close outside, move to a new high, and it turns back down again. Makes a new low here, and then comes back, and you get a first entry. When this breaks lower, then it turns back up, and then comes down. So that's a second entry short. So you may go short there. Still plenty of room to get out. It'd be one tick below the red bar there. And of course it does make a new low, and then it bounces and works back here, takes off. Notice your new low, first entry, second entry, third entry, and then there's a fourth entry. And of course you get your break and new high here, and it's right off the upper line, and nice signal bar. So I like that one to ride back down to the lows. And of course it does bounce there as well. And that's the third test of that trend line. And there's actually a first entry, second entry there as well. I like going long there. Nice, quick, easy move. You probably get a runner on it. And then we kind of get stuck working sideways from there. You can see prices just working around in that range there. We do get a triple test down up here, but there's no signal bar that you really can trade. And then you get a 1, 2, 3 triple bar down here, or triple test down there, and we do have room. Even though it doesn't look like a lot of room, there's more. I want to say there's 3 or 4 points there. 4 points. So there's plenty of room, and it works easily. It goes much higher, and then it just reverses, and we get the break, and we just start trending lower again. This is just first entry, and then you get a first entry here. There's a very slight second entry there, and then you push up higher before you turn down again. And we're just working down here. These are, again, first entries. I don't see anything. You finally get a two-legged pull back to the EMA and trend line here with a second entry short. I like that setup. There's actually another second entry here, but the signal bar is not quite good enough. Lower high here. I would just say that's a first entry. Moves on down, corrects, moves down again, and there. Here we have a little bit of an overshoot, it looks like to me. And you get a first entry, and then another. Make a new low there, first entry. Then we're working up first entry, close outside, move to a new high. So that's a second entry short. Nice signal bar. It's 51 ticks, but if you want to trade this, you just don't have any option. You go short 1 tick below that. And then you even get a good lower high here too. And this one you get a little bit of a runner out of before it comes back, but this one takes off, so you might get a bigger runner out of it. But this is just a spike and channel up is what it is. And the channel didn't go very long, and then we already had a break here. But before the break, notice we're working down. We got a close outside and a new low. And even though this is it makes a lower low there because of all that stem, that's technically like a higher low. So I think you can go long there. And then it's obvious we're kind of in a trading range. And you might have even traded that as a triple test on a trading range. And then there's a little failed breakout. Maybe you don't take that first one. Same thing here. Even though you make the stem that's lower, I still think you can treat that like a higher low and a second entry long and go long there. It's a nice reversal type bar. And that just takes off. So it turns out to be a really good trade. And we run up to a new high, and then we run back, and you get a first entry, try to go lower and turn back up. You can't trade that on the engulfing bar, but when that closes, that's if break above that was a second entry, so just go long there. And this thing really rockets. It just kind of shoots up there with a lot of momentum. I don't know if there was something going on then or what might have happened. That's right at the 30-year bond auction, so maybe that was good news. Maybe it turns out to be bad news in the end because it sells off so fast, and there's really not much you can do here. But then suddenly you get a first entry, second entry, and technically there's a lower high here too, but there's too much stem there, so you can't really take that one. And then we just get a repeat of this whole pattern all over again. It just rockets up into another spiking channel. But I just don't see much in here that you can trade. This is clearly 2 legs back, but it's an inside bar, and so you can't really take that. And then next thing you know, you're getting a break, and you got a channel working down on the breakout of this of the spiking channel, and then you get a close outside the new low, and then there's a higher low. So I like going long there, and that turns out to be a nice move as well. So that rockets on up and takes us back into this next section here, which is just a range. This one is tempting. You definitely can't trade it on the engulfing bar. You'd have to wait till it closes, and you really need a lower high. But you could argue that we tried to go higher 3 times there, so maybe you take a chance on a short there. It's a little aggressive, but we'll give it that much. Then it bounces here, runs back up. No close outside yet, no new high, and it just kind of turns down. And it bounces here. This looks too congested to go long above it, and you see what happens. It breaks up above it, comes back again. So don't enter there. We only get back to the midline here, and then you get a break. Now there's clearly this is a double top, so that's a new high. So clearly 2 legs down here after a break. You need a higher low, but maybe you've risked that one. Again, it's a lot of ticks, but 67 ticks, and you don't get a higher low. But it runs on up, and you get, notice your new low there, and you get a first entry, and you get a second entry, and then you get a lower higher. But I think there's too much stem there. I don't think you want to go short there. Runs back down, bounces on a first entry, and then you break here. You get a second entry, and then you get a triple test here. By that time, it looks really congested, and it still looks congested here. But you got a little more room to the highs here, so I think you're okay to take that one as long as you got room to scalp out between here and here. It doesn't end up mattering because it takes off, but you probably would have come back and got your break-even stops before it takes off. And it comes back, actually 2 legs back, and that takes us into 230. So not the best trading day, not the worst, but not the best trading day for sure. Still a lot of uncertainty out there, a lot up in the air. So it's hard to know what we're going to do here, but we'll we'll see what tomorrow brings and kind of get we might see how the week wraps up after that. Hopefully the week will trade higher by the end of the week. We're definitely trading higher now from the start of the week, but hopefully we'll trade even higher before we go into the weekend. No guarantees. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, early on we had a trend down break. Okay, I've had so many interruptions in this video I cannot get through it. I know I mentioned to you my mom's back in the hospital, and now my daughter called me last night and said her dog acted like he was dying, and he got snake bit, and he was deathly ill, and we had to give him antivenom, and had to rush him to the emergency vet and give him antivenom, and it was the strangest thing. Literally, his whole side of his head was swollen up, and you could see the two fang marks. And literally, he looked like he was on his deathbed. And literally, within an hour of giving him that antivenom, he was acting like nothing was wrong with him again. So it was really weird. But thank goodness we got him, and he looks like he's going to be okay. And my daughter was all up in arms about that, um, and of course, it was a humongous vet bill that she couldn't afford to pay, so I had to take care of that for her. So it's just been a crazy week for me. I didn't get much sleep last night because of all that, and so I want to get this wrapped up and get it uploaded and get out of here early today. And I may not even, I'll come in tomorrow. I probably won't trade, and I'll probably do the chart lesson and do a couple of office issues, and then I'm probably out of here for the weekend. So I need a break. Uh, but it's just seems like my life has just been really hectic with a lot of personal stuff. So I apologize. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.